I'm Brian Soup along with Joe Pransky and Alex Vogel. We filmed the show Wednesday. We talked about all the NBA trade deadline rumors, what the Celtics were going to do. So we're going to talk about that now that we know what happened. We touched up on the Patriots franchise tag stuff. We talked about the Boston Bruins and what we thought was going on at the time. They hadn't played for a little while. They won last night against the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-2. Marchand scored. He has 9 goals on the season now. And we hit on some Red Sox spring training stuff at the very end of the show that we will get into in this show more in depth today. So let's start with the NBA. Trade deadline comes and goes, and not one major deal happens. The biggest name that came out was probably J.J. Redick, so that tells you something. Jordan Crawford was traded to the Celtics for basically nothing. Jason Collins and the injured Leandro Barbosa went to Washington. Barbosa has an expiring contract. He probably won't play a game in a Wizards uniform, in my opinion. Besides that, nothing major happened. On trade deadline day, in part of a deal, Thomas Robinson, the Kings' 4th overall pick this year, was traded to Houston in a deal that also sent Marcus Morris to go play with his brother Markieff Morris in Phoenix. So those were the major deadline deals. Nothing big happened at this deadline. Eric Maynard from the Thunder was traded to Portland, but Corey Brewer or Ronnie Brown, I don't know which one, was traded from the Knicks. Nothing big happened. Josh Smith was rumored to go to Milwaukee very close to the end of the trade deadline. It did not happen. Maybe they didn't get the package they wanted. I know Brooklyn had offered Marshawn Brooks, Chris Humphries, I think maybe in a first-round pick. So there was rumors in the Celtics to get Jordan Crawford. Score 13 points a game, I think, this year. That's good for them. But you guys have any general thoughts on open up the show here on the trade deadline?
I expected more trades than what happened,
to
be honest.
Yeah.
I expected some more. I told Sam on the show the other day, I thought Josh Smith was gone. I didn't think he was coming back this year. So I don't think he's going to re-sign with Atlanta at the end of the year. One, if they don't give him the max contract. And two, I just don't know if they're going to give him what he wants. I don't know if he wants to stay there. It might be a place that maybe is more attractive to him. I know that Atlanta has cap space at the end of this year, so they can obviously sign him. They can give him a max. I don't know if they're going to try and make a run at Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard was the other a big name, kind of on the trade, not block, but he was rumored, obviously, for Rajon Rondo. But then the GM, Mitch Kupchak of the Lakers, come up and said, we think he'll be a great player for us, put a statue at Staples Center, blah, 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 saying that he's going to be great. So, look, that's what happened. He didn't get traded, so I didn't think he would get traded on deadline day. That's nothing really happened. But with the Celtics, they didn't make a major move. Jordan Crawford was they got him for basically nothing. Do you guys like that move?
Yeah.
Well, I think it was a good trade, but trading 2 players on the small roster isn't a good idea. And we should have traded a player in a draft spot instead of 2 players.
The way I look at it is that Barbosa was hurt, so it's pretty much a 1-for-1. You're not. Barbosa wasn't going to play for you this year, so you almost got him for Jason Collins. So you got the same number of people, pretty much, because of active players. I like the deal. I don't know why Washington did it. To me, it makes no sense. Jason Collins isn't a great player, but Barbosa's not going to play for you. So, but Jordan Crawford can come off the bench, give the Celtics scoring. They need that. They need someone. I think he could score. He's a streaky scorer, but he can score. That's what they need. If Pierce goes 2 for 10 like he did against Denver, or 2 for 14, someone else has to score. I know Bradley can. I know Jeff Green. I mean, he's been doing very well recently. So I think Jordan Crawford's just going to help him out more, give him some more depth. I said a couple weeks ago if they were going to trade for now, they needed a guard, because I really felt they needed another one who could score. So now you got Courtney Lee, Jason Terry, Avery Bradley, and Jordan Crawford. So you got 4 guards. I would have loved them to get a big man just to get rebounds and clog the middle, but that didn't happen. There wasn't really a guy, I don't think, on the market to do that. So that's how. But what bugs me, Celtics fans all over the state have different views on this. Some people wanted Pierce and Garnett to stay, and they wanted the Celtics forever. Let's see if we can make another championship run like we did last year and keep it going until they're 800 years old. And some people, like myself, wanted to trade them, get young assets, and let's rebuild so we're good in 5 years or 4 years. We're in contention. They didn't do that. They're going to hold on to him again. Garnett had the no trade clause. Pierce still has 2 more years left on his deal, getting paid like $20-something million. So, are you guys, a little disappointed they didn't make a move with one of those guys to get young assets and go for the future?
Yeah.
I'm extremely disappointed that they didn't do that because we do need younger players. Most of our team is extremely old and getting worse.
I get that. Totally. I totally agree with that because you cannot... Look, what's the point of staying old forever? They're only going to decrease their trade value.
Yeah.
When you try to trade them over the summer, you think you're going to get the same amount that you would now at the deadline? No, it's not going to happen.
When they get old and retire, we're not going to have any team. We're just going to have like 3, maybe 4 players that are going to be good.
And it's time to get the ping pong balls going for the Celtics, and they'll have to hope again. And look how that last time they were in the lottery, they had the worst record in the league. They could have got Kevin Durant, and instead they ended up with the 5th pick, Jeff Green. We ended up having out, but it went for Ray Allen. But look, the ping pong balls for the Celtics haven't worked out in the past. And now you got to be stuck that way instead of trading for young assets to, keep them. And other people have been saying this, and I agree with this, is that you traded Paul Pierce, right? Kevin Garnett, why would he want to stay? Maybe he change his mind. You trade Pierce first, and then that get Garnett mad, and Garnett goes. And with Garnett not waiving the trade clause, it's like he wants to stay and be loyal. But in the future, you're not helping the team by staying. What's better for the team is, I think, for them to go, get young players, and start remolding. If you want to build around Rondo, get a young shooting guard, try to get a young big, maybe get some picks. I mean, that's what they're going to go around Rondo. I know Rondo is in rumors available. I hope they would. I don't think Rondo's the reason, the answer going forward. I mean, would you guys say he is?
Yeah.
You think he could build around him and stuff?
Yeah, they should. But with the Red Sox and the Bruins, they both have created new teams and like younger players and all that stuff. So the Celtics probably should do that too. Like the Bruins have done that, in 07, and Red Sox just did it a couple of years ago, and they're bouncing back. I think they're going to bounce back pretty well this year.
That's a great point, Joe. I mean, think about it. Does Glenn Murray still play for the Bruins? Last time I checked, he's been retired for a while. Trust me, I don't think they should ever trade Joe Thornton. They didn't get anything big back. But the point is, that group with Sergei Samsonov, that whole team, Sergei Gonchar, that whole group isn't playing anymore. I think they got younger, and now look where they are. They're young. They're gonna be good for years. I wouldn't be surprised if they're the only team in this town who's still really good when Brady retires. Who knows with the Red Sox, the Celtics? I mean, they could be that one team. That's a really good point, Joe. I really like that. Alex, what is your thought on Rondo? Is he the answer or no?
No, he's nowhere near the answer. All he basically does is pass the ball. And if we don't have anyone that can score, then how exactly are we supposed to win?
Exactly, and I don't think he's a leader, and I don't think he's the guy you want there. I just don't think he's your long-term answer, and his trade value, look, I still think will be high if at the trade deadline next year, if he can come back and prove that his knee's okay, because I know Derrick Rose hasn't played, and there's a lot of questions surrounding him. So if Rondo can come back, his trade value could bounce back when he plays at a high level. It won't bother teams as much. And I think that you need to trade him, try to get something, because I just don't think he's the answer. And I said it before, if Pierce and Garnett are gone and there's no good players around Rondo and he has no one to pass the ball to, your offense is going to get nothing, and he's going to not be really what you need because there's going to be no one around him and he can't shoot. So, like I said, when the Hornets built around Chris Paul when he was there, Chris Paul could score. I mean, he still can. So that's just my thought on that.
He just can't defend, apparently, from what's happened recently.
Who, Chris Paul?
Yeah.
I think he's a pretty good defender, I would say. But But so anyway, that's our stuff on trade deadline. Very disappointing what happened with the Celtics. I was surprised. No Derek Williams stuff after there was a rumor that he could be gone. Nothing on trade deadline day from what I heard. I heard the Celtics trying to make a push at Josh Smith. They were in the front runners on trade deadline day till around maybe 12, and it just fell apart. Nothing happened there. So that's just our thoughts on that. Let's see how this team goes forward. I know they've won, what bugs me, 8 wins on the road. So they lost again against the Lakers. They're playing tonight in Phoenix. Let's see how they do. Can they go win a game in Phoenix? I mean, I hope so. They need to win some games on the road because if you're not going to have home court advantage in a playoff series, you need to win on the road. So that's just our thoughts with that. So we're going to go to the NHL now. The Boston Bruins won again last night. Marchand scored his 9th goal of the season, and man, his goal's looking pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw that goal last night, Joe?
Nathan Horton got 2 goals.
Yeah.
Banged it off the post twice.
I think that Horton, he's looked good since his injury. I mean, think about it, this guy looked like he was going to be another Marc Savard. When he went down the Stanley Cup, next year he gets hurt again. He looked like a Marc Savard. But he's bounced back. Yeah. He's playing well. He's playing physical. He's getting scoring opportunities. I mean, he's playing well. And they need that. They need that out of him. They really do. They need him to come in and be a power forward type of player. That's what they need. So it was a good game last night. The Bruins continue to win. They're playing next against the Florida Panthers Sunday. I think that's a game they'll probably win. So they'll keep going on the road here on this road trip. They're looking good. Tuukka Rask still rolling here. Joe still loves him. Still loves Tuukka. Like I said, I need to see him in the playoffs first, but he's doing well. Yeah. Anton Khudobin's doing well as the backup goalie, I think. So things for this team are going. The power play still, they can't score in the power play. Which we were talking about this the other day, and we were talking, well, a guy you could get. And obviously Jerome McGinley was a guy you could possibly get in the last year of his contract. But you need to get something. And this all ties into where you got to put Tyler Seguin as a centerman. And, you cannot trade Bergeron. He's a great two-way centerman, offense, defense. You can see him on the penalty kill and you see him on the power play. I mean, he's too valuable for me to trade up. And he's been that guy who's been with you since the Thornton days when his rookie year. I mean, he's been there. You don't trade him. He's still young. So that's just the way I think of it. So when do you do it? So this gets me to the point about who do you trade? And we all know I'm not the biggest David Krejci fan in the world. I know that the points always add up, but I just personally, I think that he tries to pass all the time and he doesn't take enough shots. And when he shoots, he scores. I mean, he doesn't have a bad shot. He actually, I think, has a good one. I think he gets right there, and the defenders say, you want to shoot, go ahead, and they take away the passing lanes. That's what they do. And every time you watch a Bruins game, he's up at the net. Now, I know Alex likes Krejci, but I'm not the biggest Krejci fan. And after the show, which we're going to get to this now, he showed me a stat. And Jerome McGinley has 1 goal and I think 9 assists, so he's like 10 points. Yeah. Krejci has 14. So, Eddie's just
12.
Any thoughts on the whole Krejci thing? I mean, you like him, right? And you want to pick him. I just don't see, personally, I just think he's the kind of trade. I think if you get a Ginla, put him on the power play, move Seguin up, you put a Ginla on that first line. So this will be the line for me. Seguin, Lucic, a Ginla, Bergeron, Marchand. They have to bump somebody up. Bergeron, Marchand, maybe, I don't know. We take a forward date. Horton.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you would have the normal lines. So you'd pretty much be moving Seguin up. Do you agree with that logic or not at all?
Well, why would you get rid of your points leader on your team for someone who isn't as good as Krejci is right now? Yes, Krejci doesn't have many goals, but he's a team player. He wants to pass it and have other people get the goals.
But you need this way. Look at it. You have to give something to get something. You cannot trade poo-poo for Jerome McGinley. It's not going to happen.
Why
you have to trade something. You cannot trade. Sorry, they don't want Chris Bork down in Calgary. Calgary's going to want a guy they can start to build with, and Krejci could be that guy.
Well, for all you know, Chris Bork could get better.
They already got rid of Bork.
But he's not.
Oh well.
Make a new one.
Well, this one's actually related to Ray Bork.
Still. I don't think people look at him as a prospect who could become At least what
Rating
David
means
Krejci's
nothing.
become in terms of status in the league. If people look at Krejci, to me, the second. Excuse me.
Don't die on us
I'll
now.
try not to. And you look at him as a top 2 centerman in terms of your lines. I get that. I just think you got to trade something to get something. You're not touching Sagan or Hamilton. I mean, would you guys all agree with that? You do not trade those guys. You're
Definitely not Hamilton. No.
Yeah, or to me, Sagan. Yeah, I think he's
Yeah.
become a star in this league.
Well,
I don't think that. What was I gonna say? I don't think that you're gonna trade Bergeron. He's untouchable in my opinion, but he's not the first line centerman. I think Krejci's the only guy on this team to trade for him. And I think that will put this team over the top. And if I'm wrong and they end up doing that, shoot me, because that could very well happen. I thought the end of last year, Rick Nash was coming up, try to trade Krejci and Lucic for Rick Nash.
why would you trade Lucic? Last year he was basically a grinder because
I get that, but
Nathan Horton. No, Sean Thornton hasn't really been playing physical, but now he's gotten back into the physical play.
But the way I look at it is with the whole Lucic thing is Rick Nash is a power forward too. The guy plays physical and he's a better player. And I would give up those two guys and move Sagan up to that line. I would have done that. They didn't happen. Because Lucic is playing well. I'm not saying Krejci isn't playing well. I just personally think that you have to give something to get something. And the guy I would want to give up is David Krejci.
Well, right now, the Bruins put Tyler Sagan on Krejci's line because they want Krejci to pass it to Sagan so Sagan can prove himself.
I just think Sagan needs to move up to a center position. I think he needs. That's his natural position. It's time to do that. It's time to move Tyler Sagan up to that line. It's time to make him a centerman and let him maneuver there. He'll have more room to set people up. I think overall he'll be a better centerman than David Krejci. I think with more points.
Why don't we stop arguing and say Chris Kelly or trade Chris Kelly or Daniel Paille?
They don't have the trade value that David Krejci would have. You might have to
Including for
trade
Iginla. Iginla's one of the best players on Calgary, yes, but David Krejci is probably our lead assists, but he has 12 points. He has 4 goals right now and 8 assists. Iginla only has 1 goal, but he has 9 assists.
I think Iginla's production would go up here, especially if you put him with Tyler Sagan. I think Iginla's production would improve here. I think he would start scoring goals because he's that type of player.
I really don't think he would change at all. I think he would be I think he would be as good as David Krejci, but he wouldn't score as many goals. He would pass it as much as David Krejci, and probably even more.
And Ginla with Claude Julien is probably unstoppable.
The way I look at it is also, look at their team. He's out there with nothing. He doesn't have what the Bruins have to play with some of the guys on. He has Mike Camilleri, okay.
And Tanguay.
Alex Tanguay, okay. And Matt Sagan. I can't even pronounce his name, but you know he is.
And they have Weidman.
That's all
there
they have.
too.
Yeah, but in terms of forwards, okay, you put him with the Bruins, I think his production would go up. He's not playing with a great team down there. Their team is struggling mightily. I think you really need to. I still think he would work out here. Another rumor out there would be Alfredson. I think Alfredson would fit in here too. You wouldn't have to trade David Krejci, in my opinion, to get him. But I think you might have to trade him to get a Jeremy Ginla. So for now, let's just agree to disagree on that. We don't agree with that. Joe's he's Switzerland. He's neutral. But that's our thoughts on that. So the Bruins said they're playing well. I don't think they need to make a move, but I think it would help them, especially if you have to play Eastern Conference Finals. Pittsburgh Penguins, number 2 power play in the league. Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin. It'd be very tough to do. Anyway, that's our thoughts on the Bruins. And for right now, we're going to get to some Red Sox. Let's go to the Patriots right now. Alfonso David currently is convicted guilty of assaulting a police officer. You guys both hear about that?
Yep.
We didn't talk about it Wednesday. We're going to talk about it now. Number 7th round pick last year. He produced well. Starting core. I thought he did really well with this team. And I think that, honestly, he helped the team. I think he made them better. And defensively, I think he might be a good compliment to lead. The charge is he could face up to 5 years in prison, but there's a lot of people saying he'll get probation. I think from what everybody's saying, if he's a football player, we don't know how things like that work, he won't go to jail. He won't get jail time. But he might miss so many camps. But anyway, you do not know what's going to happen with him. And I don't think he's a lock, for anything. He might not be thinking about football as much. You don't know. You don't know about Talib. Would you guys have think you gotta go find. Do you think this increases? You have to sign Aqib Talib because you don't know what's gonna happen with your other starting corner. Start with Joe this time.
We should keep as many good defensive players as we can because our defense isn't great at all. So we should keep Talib because he's still a great player. Even though he injured himself, he still could be a great asset in the team.
Well, 2 years ago, even though we did make it to the Super Bowl, our defense was horrible. We mainly relied on our offense. This year, when we got more defensive players from the draft, our defense has gotten better and our offense has gotten better, but we sometimes just fail.
Yeah, I think that the thing that I think you gotta get Talib now. And like I said, still get Welker. If you have to franchise Talib, do it because I know that they're saying his work ethic and all that stuff, they don't know about it because he's had character problems in the past. And like with Randy Moss, once you gave him the money, he dogged it sometimes. And I totally agree. You do not want to. Hey, here's $17 million guaranteed over 3 years, $27 million. Here's 17 guaranteed. He says thanks for the money, and he does not produce. And you're locked into that contract. Even if you cut him, like I said, 17 guaranteed. No, I understand. So tag him because you're gonna need someone. And he changed the defense, and this standard thing just says do it more. Get him now. You definitely have to do it. And I think the draft trying to get a corner. Like I said, I'm not familiar with the draft completely yet. I know it's a defensive player, an offensive tackle through some of the experts, first round, top 10 guys. That's what they think. It's definitely not a quarterback draft. So if there's a corner out there, pick him up. Go get him. But I think Talib, it just increases. You've got to get Talib. You have to try. You have to sign him. Franchise him. If it's $10 million for 1 year, fine. You gotta do what's best for your football team and not be cheap. You've seen the Patriots squeal out on guys before because they didn't want to pay him. God, please don't let that happen with Welker. But I think it very well could at his age. So that's what the Patriots have done in the past. Let's hope. I think it just increases. You have to sign Aqib Talib now. You definitely have to. So for the last 8 minutes or so, let's go to the Boston Red Sox spring training. They have 2 game against MLB teams coming up, but currently right now they played against Northeastern and Boston College. They won both those games. There's a shock.
Not surprised.
Yeah.
Against college teams, but I still think the Red Sox are we'll see more. Lester's starting for the Boston Red Sox, and John Lackey's gonna pitch. So I want to get Joe's thoughts on what do you expect out of this pitching staff coming?
I expect a lot because they've been really, what do you call it? They've been really hyped up about this season. So I think that I expect a lot out of this pitching staff this year, including with Pedro Martinez and all those guys back who's coaching those guys. So, yeah, I expect a lot out of them.
What are you expecting out of the pitching staff, Alex, as a whole?
I think the pitching staff will probably be better than last year because they have Pedro Martinez, who was one of our best pitchers in his time, and I think he'll help all the younger people and some of the people that he actually might have played with, if we have any there.
Yeah, I think this pitching staff it's determined. I think that there's definitely some motivation there. I mean, for John Lester, you were an all-star, a 16-game winner, and you come off a year like that. I mean, if you're not motivated, one, just because you want to win baseball games, two, to restore your reputation, then why are you playing in this game? So I definitely think he's motivated. I think he's motivated to come out and be the ace of this team. With Beckett gone, look, he's the guy now of this pitching staff.
Yeah.
It's time to go out and I think prove yourself again. Everybody's saying around here, Lackey's going to be good, coming off Tommy John. What has John Lackey done since he's been here, the 2 years that he pitched?
Nothing.
That would make you think that. I'm not sold on Lackey.
Yeah,
I think he's
either.
older. Lackey has not, ever since he's been here, I don't think he's been great. I think
I say trade him.
I think he's
I don't
won
think he's
2
any trade
games.
value. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody wants his. When he
Give
came
him
here,
money with him.
he signed 5 years.
I'll pay you to get rid of Lackey.
I'll pay you too. I really, I don't want to give him a chance. But I mean, it's 5 years, $60 million when he signed here. But
Wow.
yeah, it was a
We
big
just threw away money.
yeah, that was the part of the thing when we started spending. But actually, quick thing here, You know what who that money was really for? Jason Bay went into free agency, and that money was going to go to him. We offered that a very similar contract to Jason Bay. He signed with the Mets. He's been awful there. So we took that money and we gave it to John Lackey because we wanted to make a big contract. And that was part of the whole Red Sox stuff that has led them into that whole big September collapse in last year. And they're trying to reface it. But that was one of the things with John Lackey's big contract, I think, personally. But I don't think he's done anything. I'm interested to see. What I wonder is Daniel Bard is trying to get his, as we can see on the website here, they're trying to get his spot back in the bullpen. He was awful last year. Yeah, definitely. Awful last year. I mean, he went to Providence, was hitting guys, throwing the ball at the plate. It was all mental. I went to a Providence game last year, and I went up and saw it, and he was awful. He was awful. But he was supposed to be the closer of this team a couple of years ago. They made it to a starter. I thought that was tough. He started getting everything got in his head, and now we don't know what to expect from him. Hopefully, John Farrell can put him down, calm him down, and he can't stop. He can't think of everything. He needs to just, I think if he can get to a guy who can be a good setup guy for this team, great. If Bailey can be healthy and get a good setup guy for this team, that's great. And then you got hand in hand if he can close, get maybe 30 saves. That's good. The back end of your bullpen's good. I think their bullpen will be good. I think if you got those guys sitting as the setup man, great. 7th and 8th inning, if the start can only go 6, great. You got 2 guys springing the 8th. That will help your team a lot.
Yeah, we're getting a knuckler too. We have a knuckler.
Yeah, but up in the system, I heard about that. I don't know his name, but
I think it's like I don't know.
Well,
I can look it up.
So quickly here, I want to know what is Jacoby Ellsbury's in last year's deal. What are your expectations for Ellsbury coming off another year where he was injured? Are you going to see another year like that, or are you going to see a year where he almost won the MVP and hit 32 home runs? Let's start with Alex this time.
well, I don't think he's going to hit 32 home runs.
I don't think he'll hit that many.
But I think he's going to try and improve on, not getting injured and try to actually do well in maybe try for an MVP, maybe Golden Glove.
Yeah, that's the healthy. What is your expectations with Ellsbury this year?
I expect him to go slower at the beginning of the season and start working his way up, because he's been getting injured for like 3 seasons in a row now, something like that, and he's been working so hard that his body can't keep up with him, so stuff like that.
I'm expecting Ellsbury to have a good year because it's a contract year. When guys are in contract years, they usually come out and they usually play better because he's fighting for a deal, and it probably won't. I don't think it'll be with the Red Sox. I think it'll be another team. What I'm going to do is with the Red Sox is I don't think he's staying here. So if he's playing well at the deadline, someone's going to give you real stuff for Jacoby Ellsbury in July. This is ways away. I would do it because I think his value will go up. I think he's a great talent. He just needs to stay healthy. I think if he plays good, the Red Sox should try to sign him back. I just don't know if that's going to happen. But I'm expecting a big year out of him. I really am. I think he'll play a lot better, stay healthy because it's a contract year. And one thing we know in professional sports is when guys are in contract years, they play better. That's a given.
Or at least attempt to.
Exactly. So that's our thoughts from the stuff that's happened with basketball, with quick football stuff. The scouting combine is going on, so we're getting closer to the draft and the football season. When that comes, we will get into that. Trust me, I love that. What the Patriots are going to do with Welker. There'll be plenty of stuff to talk about there. Celtics are going to first game after the trade deadline. We'll see how Jordan Crawford does, and we'll see what are they fighting for, what playoff position as we keep going here. We're at the end of February. You got March and half of April. You got about a month and a half of the season left. Let's see what they can do. Red Sox, we're going to keep going. We'll watch the first couple spring training games, see what's going on with them. We'll continue.
Hopefully they'll improve from last year.
Hopefully, definitely. And we'll talk about what's going on with that. And we'll talk about the Bruins, what's going on there with all their stuff and power play and how they're doing, all that stuff. So, we got stuff on YouTube. Check it out. Sports Show on HCAM Facebook page. Check that out. Like it. Joe keeps stuff updated all the time on what's going on.
I've been slacking on that.
Yeah, but he'll pick it up on regional sports, so check that out. And Till next time, Brian DeStoop with Joe Pransky and Alex Vogel, and we'll see you next time.